This is Day or Night Exotics TV. I'm Del the Knight, and on this T Spotlight, we're going to be covering the Poecilotheria striata, the Mysore Ornamental. You're going to want to stay through this entire vid. I got some amazing footage on this animal, some footage that I've never been able to get that I've been wanting for a long time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. T Spotlight number 3, Poecilotheria striata. Phantom is a Poecilotheria striata, the Mysore Ornamental. I had once, at a time, had I think 5 or 6 pokies. Almost all of them were mature males, including my P. Metallica, who I'll talk a little bit more about in this video later, which has something to pertain with this one. My Ornata was a male, passed away. Metallica passed away. Fasciata passed away. All mature males. And the only 2 I have left, so it is 5, is this female striata and a female Sophisca Highland. And it's unfortunate because, pokies they're not as slow growing as some of the other species, and you can get adult coloration pretty early, so it's really fun to watch them molt, especially like this, when you get footage like this, which is kind of rare for me in any case, because most of the time they burrow down, you can't see a damn thing. But this time, throughout this whole vid, and again I stress to you, watch this entire vid, there's some incredible footage of this animal. Every single time I went to film her, she was like out in the open. As you can see here, adult coloration. The post molt process for her was kind of a little bit elongated. I mean, she took a long time for her fangs to really darken up, and she went almost 2 weeks before I felt like she was really ready to go, which is strange because a lot of times, it happens a little quickly. You might go 7 days, at the most a week and a half, but she waited, which is why you see her abdomen there is a little tiny. She's not a big eater to begin with. I never could get this girl to eat a ton, or she would be a lot bigger. And we're going to get a good look at her molt, so you can kind of get a feel of her size. And there's some footage, like I said, later on that is outstanding. But for her case, her eating crickets really doesn't do much. She really doesn't fill up much of them. I really feed all my tarantulas superworms, morio worms, and they really bulk up on that. But she's not really all that big on those. So, at least eating a ton of them to bulk up. And this is the molt. Right now, she's probably, around 6 inches, maybe 5 or 6 inches long. And she's really leggy, and I'm really happy to have one of these girls, because having all my pokies pass away like that, really sucked. And I'm gonna really start to rebuild that collection, but she really gave me hope to continue to build, because I think if all my pokies would have been mature males, I don't know how quickly I would have started to rebuild my collection, because they can be pricey. Pokies are my favorite genus in the hobby, hands down, followed by the brackies. But I just love the variety of these animals. The striata is one of my favorites just because of the coloration difference. As you can see on some of these animals, you get a real wide range of colors, even from the yellow warning stripes underneath. And you get some purples in there depending on what kind of light you shed on them, and we'll look at that as well later on. But rehousing this woman was actually not a challenge like a lot of people would think. This particular enclosure is my old P. Metallica's enclosure, and after he died, I didn't even really change this one out. I was so bummed. I didn't even want to look at this enclosure. I kind of put it on the bottom shelf and let it sit. But once this one molted, I knew it was time to get her back in there. So the process to clean that old enclosure out, it actually, like I said, it was really emotional for me, because I really love that Metallica as my favorite species. And summertime here in St. Louis, so spraying it down outside was just what I needed, just to get outside, get this thing sprayed down quickly, get it cleaned out quickly, And once it was cleaned out, I knew it was like, you know, it was almost like the final goodbye to the Metallica, and it was time to put something new in this enclosure, and really time to move on to the next chapter of this enclosure having a Pokey in it. The goal in the future is to have all my Pokies in these Terro Nanos. I absolutely love these things for Pokies, especially once they get a little bit size to them. She won't be able to stay here forever, but at this size, she's doing okay. My P Metallica anyway, all right. And like I said, she won't be in here for too long, but this cage is sitting out. Might as well get it cleaned out. And like I said, I love these things because they are really easy to clean out. But one of the funnest things about owning any tarantula is decorating your enclosure. And one of the things that I do when I decorate is I kind of just free myself and just, you know, just throw it in there and don't think too much. Glue gun, what you need to. I use real tree bark, real tree branches. Obviously, you want to cook those up and you know, and cook off anything that could be harmful to your tarantula. You know, bake them and make sure they're really clean. But once that's done, you toss them in there and you decorate the way you like. The Terro Nano gives you an opportunity to really make it look nice because it has that natural backdrop in the back. Getting her in there, I did not film putting her in there because it really was. She's really docile. One of the only Pokies in my collection so far that I really feel like I could handle. My P Metallica maybe a little bit, but this one I could probably handle her no problem. I don't handle even the teas that I can handle all the time. I don't handle. I just don't like to handle my teas a lot. We're going to the footage now of her actually in her new enclosure, and she's actually, like I said, she's so laid back. I felt comfortable enough to actually feed her right after I put her in, and you know, she is not the biggest of eaters, so I didn't really think she would take it down, but she does feed in this video. But right now, I'm just giving you a look of just how beautiful these animals are. If you've never seen a Pokey up close, there's a lot of interesting things going on with these animals besides the coloration. You have the hairs on there because a lot of people, for some reason, in their brains, actually don't know that these animals actually have a lot more hair than what they think. A lot of times, people think old world tarantula equals not a lot of hair. If you really get close to these Pokies, they, you know, a lot of them have a ton of hair. This is a perfect example of it. This one's, you know, is littered with hairs. Another good thing about these Pokies, and you really look in there, is how sweet looking their hooks are on the bottom of their pads at the end of their legs. Is beautiful, and you can really see with the light shine on it. And this is natural lighting with just a little bit of a light coming from the camera onto the tarantula, and it's picking up all those purples in there. And I'm really happy about that. I love the contrast between the purple, the black, the white, and you even got those coppers and grays and golds on the abdomen, which is really cool. Again, here's the feeding. She rarely ever eats for me on camera, and I was so shocked that she got thrown in this enclosure and decided to eat on camera that it really was like the biggest reward of all. I mean, it really felt good to, you know, the first time I put a new tarantula in here, especially a Pokey, that she would eat on camera, and that was really awesome because I never get footage of this girl. She's normally hiding. And again, this is the great thing about these Terro Nanos, because you got the big glass door that opens right up, and you know, you don't have to really get. You can get some really good footage of these guys if you decorate your enclosure right. And you can go straight through the front, you can look through the glass, and you can look from up top. So it allows you to get footage that I would never been able to get this footage if she was in the enclosure she was in before. Which is why I'm going to move away from that. All my tarantulas are going to start going into glass tanks, 5-gallon tanks, 10-gallon tanks, 20-gallon tanks, and these Terro Nanos of different sizes. I just like the clarity of them and how easier it is to film them and how easy it is to maintain the enclosure, get them in and out safely. It was no problem putting her in here because I had so many different ways of doing it. And again, I don't know what got in her. Normally she is so skittish, but after this molt, she has really settled down, and I was able to get this footage. I mean, the zoom on the camera is getting closer, so I'm not actually this close to the tarantula, but still got me close enough where I could get these really detailed looks of this Pokey, and I've been waiting for so long to get this close up to any of my Pokies, let alone one this size and this beautiful. And again, if you don't own Pokies, each one of them, which is why I love this genus, each one of them has their own unique look, and you know, I wish I could get closer to some of my other ones like this. I mean, you look down in here, just how beautiful those legs look. It's amazing color palette on any Pokey, but the striata really does show off quite a bit. And speaking of showing off, again, her not being skittish, I do not like shining lights on my tarantulas, especially if they're looking directly at me. But I couldn't resist here because I want to show off the contrast between what a light gets you, how camouflaged she is against that nano backdrop, versus natural lighting. The natural light in the room is just a fluorescent light shining down on top of the tarantula from the top to light it, and just the natural lighting of the room without this light. And it's amazing how they look when you don't shine a light on them, how comfortably they blend in to almost any environment, especially if the colors aren't very vivid, like that green you see there. You can see just right there how easy it would be if you were walking in a forest, to walk right past this animal. And again, you can get a really good look at the hairs, and she's just loaded with them. Her in particular, she obviously is nowhere near full grown. And one of the things I love about her so far, like I said, is that she's if she keeps this up, she's really turned out to be a really good display pokey for me that I can show people without her running, because my Highland and any of my other pokies that I owned in the past, getting him to stay out in the open was just impossible. The Pima tackle down towards the end of his life, he would, but not like this. This is, if she continues to look like this, I mean, it's going to be really nice to be able to enjoy a pokey this size in this enclosure, because my Pima metallic was like almost 3 inches smaller than this tarantula. And she is very leggy, and I still refer to her as she, because I haven't 100% confirmed, but if she's anything like my other tarantulas, pokies that I had, she has surpassed them in length by far. So I don't, and I got them all within around a year or so. Pretty sure this is a female, and as well as my Highland. So, again, going back to the recommendation for these animals, if you don't own any pokies, a lot of people will tell you that they're kind of, they're not really good beginner tarantulas. But as far as old worlds go, I actually recommend them over a lot of the old world species, as far as if you want to get something different than, new world terrestrials. Pokies, to me, especially if you get them as slings, they're just not as bad as what people think. I mean, they don't, even if they get out, they don't seem to run like a Salmon Poets will. They'll keep running. At least mine did. My sun tiger would just take off, and she would just keep running until you never saw her again. But these guys actually stop. So they're not too bad. I mean, they really aren't. If you don't own any, I highly recommend you get into them. I want to thank you guys for watching this one. As always, subscribe if you're new to Dope TV, and also hit the like button and share. That's how we keep this thing going. I do these videos for you guys, and I appreciate all the support, so keep it going. I hope you guys have a good day. Be safe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.